Making headlines this hour, the President says that 2016 was a success in achieving key pledges. President inaugurates Velana International Airport, and Turkish authorities beef up security in Istanbul after a gunman kills at least 39 people at a club. Good evening and welcome to Nightly News on Television Maldives with me, Fatma Stara. President Abdul Yamin Abdul Qayyum says that 2016 was a success in achieving key administration pledges. In his New Year message, the President sent warm greetings of occasion to all the Maldivians going on to the state that the past year had graced us with peace and harmony, and that meaningful action was taken on several fronts to fulfill the basic needs of Maldivians. Additionally, the President highlighted that in 2016, various development projects were initiated throughout the country. The President also highlighted that in 2016, various actions were taken to promote youth empowerment, especially with added employment opportunities. President Yamin ended his message expressing his hope that in 2017, the development projects begun in 2016 would be completed. President Abdul Yamin Abdul Qayyum inaugurates Velana International Airport at a ceremony held at Hulule. MNDF sounded a bugle call to welcome the President on his arrival at Hulule during the ceremony. The President lit the signboard of Velana International Airport, officially inaugurating the airport. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister of Economic Development Mohammed Said said that over $1 billion has been invested by the government for the expansion and development of the airport over the past 3 years. The ceremony also saw the handing over of the aerodrome license of Velana International Airport to the Maldives Airports Company Limited by the Maldives Civil Aviation Authority. Ibrahim Nasir International Airport was renamed Velana International Airport in line with efforts by the administration to make the airport a gateway for future development and growth. A flight operated by the national carrier Maldivian was the first to touch down at Velana International Airport. The President was also accompanied at the ceremony by Minister of Tourism Musa Zamir, senior officials of Maldives Airports Company Limited and Maldives Civil Aviation Authority. The rebranding and name change of the airport was announced by the President on Monday. The President announced the decision after a cabinet meeting focusing on the transformation of the airport in line with the administration's economic vision. First developed pursuant to a declaration on 1st May 1964, the establishment of an airport proved significant in developing and cementing several key foreign relations while also enhancing the country's economy. With the active involvement of a large number of public, the then Prime Minister Sumuvul Amir Ibrahim Nasir Ranabandir Kilegafan played a critical role in realizing the airport. With the rebranding, the airport is to be referred to as Velana International Airport. While concise, Velana is also a reference to former Prime Minister Sumuvul Amir Ibrahim Nasir Ranabandir Kilegafan. President Abdul Yamin Abdul Qayyum attends the Maldives at Sunnyside Music Festival. The Maldives at Sunnyside Music Festival was inaugurated by President Yamin earlier in the evening from his official residence, Hilali Ke. Along with the President, Minister of Tourism Musa Zamir, senior government officials and a huge number of locals were in attendance. The festival is organized by the Tourism Ministry in partnership with Public Service Media (PSM) on the occasion of the New Year in order to promote tourism in the Maldives. Local and international artists are set to perform at the music festival. The star performer in this year's festival was the famous Bollywood singer Arman Malik, who gave a standout performance last night. According to the Tourism Ministry, the aim of the music festival is to promote and market various travel destinations in Maldives. The ministry also launched a travel mobile application in this year's music festival. PSM also launched the first promo of the Season 2 of Maldivian Idol, the first franchise TV show in the Maldives. This is the third such festival organized by the current administration. Economic Minister Mohammed Said says that international community needs to be informed about major development projects conducted in the country in order to increase investor confidence. He made the statement while speaking at an event held last night to rebrand Ibrahim Nasir International Airport to Velana International Airport. Speaking to PSM following the event, Minister Said said that he believes the rebranding of INIA to Velana International Airport will increase the popularity of the airport. He said the rebranding will be promoted across social media channels along with information on the ongoing projects to develop the airport. He expressed hope the efforts would further increase investors' confidence in the country. Chairman of Maldives Airports Company Mohammed Umar Manik told PSM News that the new name is more appropriate for the airport. Meanwhile, Managing Director of Island Aviation Services Limited, Abdullah Harris, said they have already shared information about the rebranding of the airport with Airports Council International. Public service media PSM announces that the second season of Maldivian Idol will premiere on the 27th of January. The promo of the show to be aired on television Maldives was unveiled at Maldives Sunnyside Music Festival held at Alimas Carnival last night. After a successful season 1, Maldivian Idol is set to return with more talents and entertainment. Maldivian Idol, the country's first franchise of an international reality TV show, aims to provide local artists a platform to showcase their talents. Auditions of the season 2 were held in Mala City, Addu City, Formula City, Gang of Lam Atoll, Edafushi of Ba Atoll, and Kurdufushi of Hadal Atoll. The judges of season 2 are Mariam Nusha and Ibrahim Zaid Ali, who also judged the first season, in addition to famed musician Ismail Afan. Musa Wasim, who also hosted the first season, will be joined by singer Amnat Lamha Latif as his co-presenter. Data released by China's National Bureau of Statistics shows the country's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index PMI slid to 51.4% in December, down from 51.7% in November. A reading below 50 indicates contraction, while the above 50 signals expansion. The December PMI figure fell 0.3 base points month on month, but remained within the expanding range. It was the second highest in 2016. The December PMI indicated a decline in both supply growth and business operation. The increase in the prices of material led to higher business costs. As the government tightened environmental control, businesses' operations face more rigid constraints and saw a slowdown in their growth. According to experts, the slower output release directly led to a drop in the index levels. But overall, the index has remained at a relatively high level of above 51%, a reflection of a steadily improving economic growth. Looking at news from international arena, Turkish authorities beef up security in Istanbul after a gunman kills at least 39 people at a nightclub.
Security remained high in Istanbul's Ortaköy district on Sunday morning after a gunman killed at least 39 people, many of them foreigners, and wounded 69 others at a nightclub packed with New Year's revelers in an attack officials described as a terrorist act. The gunman shot his way into the Reina nightclub at around 22:15 GMT, just over an hour into the new year, killing a police officer and a civilian as he entered before opening fire at random inside. Some witnesses spoke of multiple attackers, but officials have not confirmed this. A Saudi Arabian tourist told Reuters that he had planned to go to the nightclub, but cancelled at the last minute before the attack took place.
Actually, we heard a lot of noise outside. Then the hotel, that's a good thing, called us, so please be careful, don't go any other place, so to be safe. Actually, some of my friends invited me to go to that place, what happened there, and crazy guy or something like psycho guy. But we cancelled, I don't know why we cancelled to go there.
The attack again shocked Turkey as it tries to recover from a failed July coup and a series of deadly bombings in cities including Istanbul and the capital Ankara, some blamed on Islamic State and others claimed by Kurdish militants. The club, one of Istanbul's most iconic that is popular with local and foreigners alike, overlooks the Bosphorus Strait separating Europe and Asia in the city's cosmopolitan or Tokyo district. Broadcaster CNN Turk said around 500 to 600 people were thought to have been inside when the gunmen opened fire. Some jumped into the water of the Bosphorus to save themselves and were rescued by police. US President Barack Obama, on vacation in Hawaii, expressed condolence and directed his team to offer help to the Turkish authorities.
Scores of Iraqi civilians leave their homes for safety as government forces fight IS militants in eastern Mosul. According to officials, the civilians will be transported to Khazer displacement camp to the east of the city. Iraqi forces launched the second phase of their operation to retake the northern city after weeks of deadlock. So far, they have retaken a quarter of Mosul since the offensive began in mid-October. Gunfire and explosions were heard and smoke hovered in the distance while Intisar residents walked past army vehicles carrying their belongings to safety. Mosul is divided by Tigris River and Iraqi forces have yet to enter the western side, where narrow alleyways are likely to complicate any advance. Coalition forces bombed the last Romanian bridge connecting East and West Mosul this week to block IS militants' access across the river. According to the United Nations, more than 114,000 civilians have been displaced from Mosul so far, but 1.5 million are still thought to be inside. The United Nations Security Council unanimously adopts a resolution welcoming a ceasefire in the Syrian civil war brokered by Russia and Turkey. Russia and Turkey announced the ceasefire this week, the third truce in 2016, seeking to end the nearly 6 years of war in Syria. The resolution comes as clashes, shelling and air raids in western Syria threaten to unravel the newly penned ceasefire.
We have voted in favor of this resolution because it strikes the right balance, cautious optimism and support, predicated on hope, but tempered by a realistic need to wait to see how this arrangement is implemented before casting the full weight of the Security Council behind it. We would highlight 2 key points. Our hope is that a ceasefire will truly hold and will not serve as a justification for further unacceptable offensives. In that regard, we are concerned at reports of a regime offensive supported by Hezbollah militia in Wadi Barada. The Security Council's adoption of this text should be seen as a strong signal that such activities must cease.
The US is concerned about what she said is a continuing military offensive by the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad in spite of the cessation of hostilities. The resolution also welcomes plans for talks to take place in Astana, Kazakhstan, between the Syrian government and the opposition ahead of the resumption of UN-brokered peace talks in Geneva in February. Russia's ambassador to the UN called today's resolution very important before cautioning other members of the Security Council to contribute positively to efforts to help it succeed. Russian President Vladimir Putin, a key ally of Assad, announced the ceasefire on Thursday after forging the agreement with Turkey, a long-time backer of the opposition. The truce went into force at midnight, but monitors and rebels reported almost immediate clashes, and violence appeared to escalate later on Friday as warplanes bombed areas in the country's northwest. The ceasefire is meant as a first step toward fresh peace talks after several failed international efforts in 2016 to halt the conflict, which began as a peaceful uprising and descended into war in 2011. It has resulted in more than 300,000 deaths, displaced more than 11 million people, and drawn in the military involvement of world and regional powers, including Moscow and Ankara. 5 people have been killed and around 100 people rescued after fire ripped through a boat carrying tourists to islands north of the Indonesian capital Jakarta. Along with 5 fatalities, 17 people were also injured. The head of Jakarta's Search and Rescue Agency said that 98 people had been rescued. He said the boat Zahra Express caught fire shortly after leaving a port in North Jakarta early on Sunday due to a short circuit on a power generator on the boat. Sea accidents are frequent in Indonesia, a sprawling archipelago with vessels often overloaded and having too few life jackets on board. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un says the isolated nuclear-capable country is close to test launching an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM. North Korea tested ballistic missiles at an unprecedented rate during 2016, although some experts have said it is years away from developing an ICBM fitted with a nuclear warhead capable of reaching the United States. The country has been under UN sanctions since 2006 over its nuclear ballistic missile tests. The sanctions were tightened last month after Pyongyang conducted its 5th and largest nuclear test on September 9th. In February, North Korea launched a satellite into space, which was widely seen as a test of long-range ballistic missile technology. A senior U.S. military official said last month that North Korea appears able to mount a miniaturized nuclear warhead on a missile, but it is still struggling with missile re-entry technology necessary for longer-range strikes. During this speech, Kim also denounced the U.S. and South Korean President Park Geun-hye for the conflict in Korean Peninsula. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address to the nation after 50 days of demonetization of higher currency evokes mixed reactions.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's supporters complimented him for offering soaps to the poor, while critics accused him of diverting people's attention from hardship. Modi announced a series of incentives to the poor, farmers, women and small businesses on Saturday in a New Year's address and defended his recent decision to abolish high-denomination banknotes. The televised speech was widely seen as an opportunity for Modi to shore up support after a radical move on November 8 to withdraw all 500 and 1000 rupee bills, accounting for 86% of currency in circulation. India's Tourism Minister Mahesh Sharma said Modi always thought about betterment of marginalized sections of the society. Millions of Indians were forced to queue outside banks for hours to deposit old money and withdraw as much new currency as was permitted, causing widespread anger and rising concerns about India's economic growth in the current quarter. The so-called demonetization was designed to crush India's huge shadow economy, increase tax revenues and promote the use of bank accounts and digital transactions, but perceptions that the ambitious operation was botched have hurt Modi's standings. A spokesperson of India's opposition Congress party, Meme Afzal, said Modi tried to bribe people ahead of crucial state polls in Uttar Pradesh. A lawmaker of the Communist Party of India, CPI, D. Raja, echoed similar sentiments. The announcements come only weeks before Uttar Pradesh, India's most populous state with 200 million people, holds an election that will test whether the popular leader has been significantly weakened.
A Welsh football club are celebrating after winning their 27th match in a row, breaking a 44-year-old world record. The New Saints TNS are Welsh Premier League champions and have broken a record held since 1972 by Ajax Amsterdam for the longest winning streak in top-flight football. On Friday night, TNS played and beat Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 to win their 27th match in a row. Aaron Edwards scored for TNS after 34 minutes, with John Rutledge adding a second 2 minutes from time. The club have won all 21 of their Welsh Premier League games this season, with another 4 wins in the Welsh Cup and Welsh League Cup, plus 2 wins in the expanded Scottish Challenge Cup, which now includes the select teams from Wales and Northern Ireland. It took almost 2 hours, but Rafael Nadal eventually overcame Belgium's David Goffer 6-4, 7-6 to win the MUBADALA World Tennis Championship in Abu Dhabi. The Spaniard was forced to dig deep to win the exhibition tournament for the 4th time. The reigning champion edged a closely fought first set, finally breaking Goffin when it mattered and clinching the set 6-4. However, Goffer rode back to break Nadal in the first game of the second set. That game was to set the tone for the set as both players traded breaks of serve on the way to 2-2. Goffer had chances to win the set, including 5 break points with the score at 5-5, but Nadal held firm to win that game and take the set to a tie break. In the tie-break, Nadal looked the stronger and so it proved, with the former world number 1 eventually winning 7-5. Both players will now look to next month's Australian Open after a positive start to their season. And countries around the world celebrate a new year as they welcome 2017.
New Zealanders celebrated the 2017 New Year with a fireworks display that erupted from Auckland's 328-meter tall Sky Tower on Sunday. Thousands of residents and visitors lined the waterfront to watch brightly coloured fireworks and laser lighting erupting into the night sky over the city's harbour. According to local broadcaster TVNZ, 500 kilograms of fireworks were used in the display, which took 5 months of planning. North Korea put on a large fireworks display in Pyongyang early on Sunday to mark the start of the new year. The state-run television KRT showed people watching the 15-minute-long display at Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang. Taiwan's tallest skyscraper, the Taipei 101 Tower, ranged in the new year with its annual fireworks display on December 31st. The spectacular display was launched from Taipei's iconic 508-meter tall tower, lasting a total of 238 seconds. Thousands of people gathered on the streets near the venue in celebration. Iraqis briefly took their minds off the violence and conflict with IS to welcome in the new year with a colorful and loud fireworks display in the early hours of Sunday. Celebrations and a fireworks display centered around the Baghdad Tower, damaged in the 2003 US-led invasion when it was known as Saddam Tower. It was renovated in the past few years. Hundreds of locals gathered in the streets around the tower in the capital's MOSUL district as fireworks and lights lit up the area. At the Hassan Sham camp for displaced Iraqis near Mosul, children sang and danced with clowns to celebrate the new year on Saturday as adults expressed their hope for peace and stability in the war-torn country. Most of the residents here had fled the violence resulted from Iraqi forces' ongoing fight against IS in Mosul. Uprooted from their homes, those seeking sanctuary came here with a few belongings, and supply shortages in the camp is making everyday life even more of a struggle. As the temperature plummets and dirt roads turn to mud, residents said there weren't enough blankets and heaters to help them stay warm and dry. But some were still hopeful that the new year would bring them stability.
Well, that's it for now. Stay tuned for more updates of recent current affairs stories here on Television Maldives. Thank you for joining us. I wish you a pleasant evening. Good night.